Hello there, it's Ron, and wanted to make a little video, kind of just a warm-up video. I have been intending to get started on this for a couple of weeks. May 7th, I reached my 5-year sobriety anniversary, which is probably the biggest accomplishment of my life, along with raising this boy right here, Mr. Zeus. Hey, Zooster. Anyway, just wanted to put some thoughts down just for a minute about sobriety, and had a nice little celebration with my friend Trey on May 7th to celebrate 5 years. I would like to have more celebrations because, as I said, it's probably the biggest accomplishment of my life so far. And I think anyone who goes through recovery understands that each milestone, whether it's a year, month, whatever, very meaningful and very transforming. And sometimes one thing I wanted to address, and I have talked to my therapist about this, is that it seems like there's people that you leave behind. Someone I know was recently talking about that and said you're going to the mountaintop and they're just not ready to climb the mountain. Another way to put it, many years ago when I went to Al-Anon in Mesquite for a while, there was a chapter in Mesquite for, of course, Al-Anon is friends and family of addicts, or people with addictions, I should say. I still remember the de facto leader of that group. Very nice lady. She was probably about 10 or 15 years older than me. I have no idea where she is now or anything, but when I told them about just some of the crazy things I was dealing with family and one of my dear friends in particular, as far as addiction went, she told me, because I was not sober at the time, full disclosure, and this was back probably the early 90s. So many moons ago, as the Native Americans say. But something she said always stuck with me. She said, Ron, if you ever do get sober, you'll find that there's people, she said, don't be surprised, there's people who, they prefer the old you. They prefer the damaged version of you. Of course, we're all damaged, but they prefer the damaged version of you, the weaker version of you, the addicted version of you. And that's because that's what they're comfortable with. That's what they're comfortable around. And I need to be mindful of that, because I honestly get a little frustrated that I want to share my joy about it, and also share my experiences to try to help others who are either in recovery or want to get in recovery and just aren't quite there yet. And one thing I will say that I've learned along the way, and by the way, it's early morning on Saturday, May 25th. So May 25th is going to make 5 years and 18 days sober for me. It's just like in therapy, there's no real secrets or magic formula or anything. It's just kind of just grinding away at it every day, just every single day. You just have to be mindful. That's the key thing, being mindful of your triggers, being mindful of just avoiding negative people, if anyone does say anything negative to you or act hatefully or negatively, then you just avoid. Um, it's usually best not even respond. But the main thing is, it's as joyful as it is, it can be a grind, and you have to just keep. It's just like uh, going to work every day at a job. You just have to keep on, keep on, keep on, and that doesn't matter what the job is. You can be, you know, NBA superstar. Well, that's the result of just grinding away every day, every day, every day. And I don't mean grinding really in a negative way. Um, I'd like to say this: the dirty little secret about therapy is that it's hard work. That no matter how good your therapist is, she or he doesn't have any magical words. They're not your friend. They don't have magical words um, that they can help guide you and help you be mindful. Um, but it still comes down to you just putting in the work. And maybe that's where I get a little frustrated sometimes, that people not realizing that it's a lot of hard work. I've been unemployed for a couple months now, and putting in applications, sending out my resume, putting in applications several times a week, and had a few interviews, but not any concrete results yet. But it's that kind of lost my train of thought there. But it's that going through a time of crisis like that in years past, not all that many years ago. That's when I would double down on my drinking. That's when I would really, well, it was an excuse, to self-medicate. It was an excuse to self-medicate. And something that really stuck with me, and this gets into reasons why some of my main motivations for doing all my mental health advocacy, and also some motivation is to stay sober and stay healthy too, is a lot of people that I've lost to suicide and or addictions. My dear friend Heather and my awesome friend Bucks. And that was just back in October that Bucks died by suicide. Still, well, it will always be heartbreaking. Also, this was about 2 years ago. I was helping host a table at a community event that NAMI North Texas had a table set up. So I volunteered to help set up the table and had well, that one I did solo. I was going to say I had someone with me, but that one I did solo. That's right. So I was out there by myself, and there were about 20 or 30 other organizations out there. So fairly large community fair. And I still remember it was towards the end of it, there was and I might be getting my community fairs mixed up. But bottom line, it was a couple years ago, and I still remember it was towards the end of the event because I was there for probably about 4 hours or so, and it was starting to wind down, and there was a man who came in, and he told me that he was a retired Navy SEAL. He had served, I believe he said 20 years, full 20, might have been 22 or 23 years, but I know it was at least 20 years that he had served, most of it as a Navy SEAL. And he had been retired for at least a few years. And he came to the NAMI North Texas table because he wanted to, well, not just pick up some pamphlets and whatnot for mental health resource information, but also talk to me to see uh, what I might know. And well, his big concern was, now he said he was doing fine. I'm going to just assume that he wasn't talking in the third person about himself, as sometimes people say, "Oh, I have a friend who has this problem," and they really mean themselves. In this case, I think he really was talking about the other people. He said that he was doing well. That uh, he didn't have any lingering issues, I guess I should say, that were troubling him. But he knew um, several veterans personally who were struggling badly. I think most, if not all of them, were combat veterans, and they were struggling badly with their PTSD and other mental health conditions too. Excuse my hand. um, and well, I'm well acquainted with PTSD. Sometimes I call it the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks to coming up 7 years of therapy in August, 7 years of therapy, and also my 5 years plus of sobriety and all that. I've got a much bigger toolbox and a much better handle on it. And so I feel confident talking to people like him and sharing part of my experience. And of course, I gave him the basic information of, bottom line, if nothing else, make sure they know about the 988 mental health emergency number. And it actually doesn't have to be an emergency to call 988, just so people know that. But the reason he was so upset and wanted to talk to me and gather more information and ask, well, what do you think I can do? And of course, I told him that one of the best things is just active listening, which sounds like what he was doing, just active listening. And that means listening without judging, not telling someone, you shouldn't feel that way. Should never tell someone that you shouldn't feel that way, because that's how they feel. If they're being honest and that's how they feel, listen to them, give them some validation. But according to him, and what he was extremely upset about this. I mean, here's a pretty tough dude, and he was crying a little bit because he was so concerned about some of his friends. And he said what's happening is these are people who are struggling badly with their PTSD and other mental health conditions. And he said they go to the VA, and the VA, according to him, just floods them with paperwork. Oh yeah, just fill out these forms and we'll get back to you in a couple of weeks, and blah blah blah. And he looked at me and said, Ron, these people need help now. Which is why I gave him, really stress the 988 number, but he said they really need help now, and the last thing they need is to be overwhelmed with all this paperwork and bureaucracy and all this. And I fully understand that, because after the Boston Marathon bombing, I went 4.5 years before I found effective therapy. It was about 3 years when I had a triad therapy that did not work out well at all. I clearly had the wrong therapist for me. But so basically I went about 4.5 years because I didn't have money, I didn't have insurance, and I didn't know about all the resources. Of course, there's more resources now, thankfully, because that was 2013. April 15, 2013 was the marathon bombing. And excuse me, I'm just gathering my thoughts about that. What I'll never forget, and I shared this with him, was how frightening it was trying to navigate that without any help. Because by that time, I was diagnosed with chronic PT, and it was severe. And also, I was self-medicating to deal with it, which of course made it that much worse, which I didn't realize that at the time. But I'll never forget that because I didn't have money and I didn't have insurance. 4.5 years of just trying to navigate that by myself. And then it was almost another 2 years before I got sober, but my goal is I don't want anyone to have to navigate it by themselves like that. So there's my motivation, to be in mental health advocacy and also just sharing my recovery story. To me, it's remarkable. 5 years and 18 days sober. And just wanted to share this. It's not a poem, it's just this little excerpt from a book that I saw a lady on Instagram post in her story on Instagram. I think I saw this a couple of years ago in her story, and I screenshotted it, and it's just brilliant. I really like this. And this is my daily reminder. I posted a lot on Facebook and on Instagram and even Twitter too. It's my daily reminder of, to keep pushing. That if I do feel isolated or lonely, that's my daily reminder that it's worth the struggle. Anyway, I'll read it. And you might hear Zeus snoring. Zeus is back there snoring. Anyway, Zeus is my official emotional support dog and my best buddy, of course. The Zooster, as we all call him. Anyway, it's called 72. Your pain will transform you. Your story will enliven the world. Your truths will magnetize your tribe. Your weird will set you free. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. And that's my daily reminder to myself. And I share that with other people all the time. I shared that with my therapist a week or two ago, and she really liked it. And got to say, sometimes when I read it, it makes me cry a little bit just because it's so powerful. So, to anyone out there who might be struggling with their self-worth, self-esteem, I'll read it again. 72, your pain will transform you. Your story will enliven the world. Your truths will magnetize your tribe. Your weird will set you free. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. And I think that's all I wanted to share for now. I meant for this just to be a short little warm-up, but there we go. I guess I had a lot to say. And I'll basically just be celebrating the rest of the year, my 5th year, while going into my 6th year of sobriety. This for me, it's hard to put into words how much it means to me. All right, everyone, if you're struggling or you know anyone who is, please reach out. NAMI North Texas is a great place to start. And again, if there's some kind of mental health emergency, it doesn't have to be life and death. You can always call 988 as well. But reach out though. There's a lot of power in that. All right, and I will leave you with a thought from MLK Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. All right, y'all have a good night or a good day whenever you're watching this. Bye.